Hey traders, John Howell here. We have just closed, or the market has just closed. I've just finished doing some of my trading as well, and I want to share with you what has happened today and what's going on. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, so let's get straight into it. One thing I want to do before I actually start today's video is I do want to share with you gold, because I think gold's actually setting up with a very powerful pattern that's happening there. But the first thing I want to do is I want to share this with you here. Check this out. This was this one right here. So this you know, when you just so like, the thing about trading, right, is I did a video yesterday. Oh, there we go. Okay, I did this video yesterday. If you guys haven't seen it, make sure you go watch it. I went absolutely almost 1 hour of just going deep into techniques and trading and so on and so forth. So if you haven't watched that, go watch yesterday's really major market update about everything that I went through there. But the really interesting thing is that I really want to bring this here. This is actually, I got a comment here on my video. As you can see, this is my video comment here. And this is obviously from Nixon. And he said, guys, be careful of scammers putting up comments suggesting names of people who will help you trade and make money for you, and the rest of the followers suggesting how that so-and-so person helped them make money. This is actually a really big thing. So thank you for putting that up there, Nixon, because that's actually a big thing. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys know that, right? Most of you guys know that. And I don't have time to go through, like, there's obviously this one right here. I know this one right here is obviously a scammer. So I'm just gonna block you. I know this one here is a scammer, so I'm going to block you and so on and so forth, right? But I'm not going to. Yeah, I just get too many of them every single day, so I just whatever. So thank you for putting up thank you for putting that up there, Nixon, as well too. But Nixon also said as well too, as you can see here, he said, I've just gotten onto John Howell's coaching program on the 16th of this month. So this is actually just recently on the 16th of this month. Learning from him step by step and it's brilliant. I believe my investment in his program is worth every penny to help me take on this new career. So this is actually someone who's just recently joined, like in the last few weeks. Let alone the last few people that have been with me for the whole year. And I've had many people that are with me last year, that are with me this year as well too. So traders, if you really do need help with your trading and you are struggling with your trading, please let me help you. This is what you need to do. See this little link in the description here? Go watch that webinar, okay? Go watch the webinar, and then at the end, I'm going to talk about my coaching program. If you are struggling right now, join my coaching program today. I promise you, I will be able to help you. This is Nixon here, and he's only been with it for the last few weeks, and he's seeing all the training and education and coaching he's getting already, and he's already saying, I believe my investment in the program is worth every penny. Let alone, he has the rest of the year for me. My coaching program starts right now and ends at the end of the year. So make sure, if you are struggling, guys, go to johnsfreetraining.com, or if you just like to have a chat with me personally, then just email me. We'll arrange a time to have a chat, and then I'll be able to help you out there. But go watch some free training, because you'll be able to see exactly how I trade the markets and my systems and processes and what the coaching program is all about, because I know I can help you. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm seeing so many people are just not doing really well right now. They are absolutely struggling in these markets because they're just not sure how to actually look at these markets and how to trade the markets when it comes to risk management, when it comes to even just simple analysis. I just read something just recently, and this is the reason why I'm bringing this up right now, is because I just read recently that someone who got lucky in the bull market that happened in the crypto market, they made $1 million, and they didn't want to sell for tax reasons, but because so they didn't want to sell. But then guess what happened? They lost all of that. Now, not only did they lose all of that, but somehow they are now left with something like, I think it was something like $500,000 from memory, from the article, $500,000 loss. $500,000, somewhere about there. I'll have to dig the article. You know what? Let's actually do this. All right, so here we go. This is the post or the actual thing that I saw recently, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. I'm really, yes, I want you guys to join my coaching program because I know it's going to help you for the rest of your life when it comes to your trading coaching, when it comes to that. But I'm also doing this to put my foot down with you guys. Say, please respect the market. Respect the market. Don't be just trading anything because you want to trade or you're impatient and so on and so forth. Because on the other side of this, you can do so well. All right, I'm going to get to the techniques. Again, yesterday's video was so much about the techniques, but today I want to really, I'm going to get to the actual market itself, a bit of a market update, what actually happened, and I want to get to gold. But I firstly want to cover this as well too, because please, guys, my first step is to actually save you from just blowing yourself up, right? Because I personally have made so many stupid mistakes in these markets that I don't want you to do this. And check this out. I owe nearly $500,000 in capital gains tax for 2021. However, I lost all of my money at the beginning of this year. What can I do? Is it possible to use my losses to offset gains even though it was 2 separate years? Wow. Now, I personally do know that that's the reason why I do everything through structures and companies and trust and so on and so forth. One, to protect myself, but also secondly, you can do a lot of stuff like that, but you need to check with your accountant there. Posting this on a throwaway because I do not want to be identified. Okay, I started day trading last year, and it was a great year to start. I made 7 figures of trading options, and I owe nearly $500,000 in capital. Okay, so I was actually trading options. Okay, I'm actually a very big options trader myself. I think options are phenomenal. But yeah, anyway. Okay, yeah, so he said, in January, I stupidly mistook my luck with an act of genius. I thought I knew how to game Wall Street. I saw the market dip, biology, and decided to throw all my money into options again. Oh my goodness, look at this here. Trace, you know how many times I've actually done that? Or not throw all my money, but it's just like, I want to go in, right? I want to make my money back. And this is where like I see some people say, John, I just made $15,000, or I just made $20,000, or I just made $100,000. Like, traders, all right, traders, you know what? And this is actually a big thing. Let me actually tell you a story here. There was one year there. It was 1 year that my very first year I almost made $1 million. And I remember this is back maybe 10 years ago, maybe somewhere about there, maybe even 7, 8 years ago, somewhere there. I went on to I was almost about to make my very first $1 million, and I was about $750,000 in profits for trading that year, right? Amazing year, incredible year. And so, but guess what? Because I was like so focused on making money, guess what I started to do? I started to take on more risk because I'm just like, I was about maybe September, October, I was around about that period there. And, and at that time I was up roughly around $750,000 for the entire year, right? So massive, really, really, it was actually a really good year for back then. It's actually okay for me right now, but it was actually getting on close to one of my best years ever back then, about 7, 8, maybe 10 years ago, somewhere there. So the purpose of me telling you this is that guess what I did is I started throwing big money instead of just continue to trade the way that I trade and doing really well from the markets. I started throwing big money at big risk and all that sort of stuff. And I went from about 750 down to about I think it was about $300,000 or $400,000 in 2 months. And I knew I just had to stop trading, right? So people just think, oh, John, you made what, 400, just call it 400 grand, right? Actually just, 400 grand, somewhere in there. It's like, that's actually a pretty good year. You actually did pretty well that year. And I'm just like, yeah, but I did have, I had almost $1 million in there. And so because my goal was to make $1 million, in 1 year trading, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm almost there. So I started to actually take on really big risk. I started trading more than I should have. So I still made money that year, But it was one thing that I just really learned so much. And again, that's because I've gone through all this sort of stuff, guys. In my coaching program, I help you with understanding this. I thought it would recover, but it always does, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't always recover. That's where, like, and this is where one thing, guys, like, no matter how much I come on here and I do my little energy thing, right? Like Donkey Kong's coming to town and all this sort of stuff. I do that, guys, because of entertainment, right? It's not, and plus I get excited about these markets. I've been doing it for 17 years, and I get excited because I know what it can do for you because I live, eat, and breathe it every single day. And I'm telling you some of the stories right now. And so, you know, it's absolutely amazing, these markets. It's incredible, right? I was wrong and the market kept dipping and I lost all my money within weeks. Now, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Firstly, if you are trading options, one of the biggest things you must do is this. Firstly, never trade short-term options. I can see here, he said, the market kept dipping and I lost all my money within weeks. That shouldn't have happened. So the first thing is, if you are trading options, firstly, be careful of writing options, okay? Yes, writing options, because if you write options, you know, that's when obviously you actually get to receive the money to make a promise. And if the market does keep dipping, you have to then buy the shares. That's actually very, very, very risky, okay? I recommend you staying away from writing options. Buying options, I recommend you having no more than 5% of your account in any one position and trading in the money, right? Trading in the money. I'm not going to get too much into detail here, but the big things that I do when I'm trading is just say, for example, where the market's at right now, and I believe the market's going to go up. Firstly, no more than 5%. Now, as you start to get experience, like with me, I'm happy to start to put on 10 or 15% of my account, sometimes even 20. But I get out really quickly, right? So if I'm here, I'll then start to buy this option, or this option in the money. The reason why in the money, if you guys that actually trade options, a very, very, very big thing here, okay? A lot of people look at the option chain. You know what? Let's actually do this here. Actually, I'll go to this here, right? He says here now, I owe taxes for 2021 that I can't pay. I'm 25 years of age. And my job pays decently, but not enough to pay the 500K anytime soon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, oh my goodness, that's absolutely just crazy. But let me just share with you what I mean here. And a big mistake that people do, let me actually bring this over here. Let me actually bring this option chain over here. If you guys don't know what options are, then just sort of sit back. I'm going to get into the actual market update with gold and stuff like that in a minute. But this is actually a big mistake that a lot of traders make when actually looking at the markets here. So I'm looking at the SPY. And I'm looking at the SPY. This is the option chain here right now. And so what a lot of people do is they'll start to trade these what we call weeklies, okay? And like every option has an expiration date. So the big mistake that most people do, and I've done this mistake myself, is that firstly, they'll trade short-term options with a short-term expiration date because they're the ones when the market does move big, you can make a lot of money really quickly. And obviously it sounds like that guy did the exact same, right? So if I go March, you can see here has 8 days remaining to expiration, but you can actually get pretty big swings here, right? So the big thing for me is that when looking at trading these options here, is that you can see here, let's actually go to the April. So this one here has, you can see 22 days remaining. Now it depends on, the first thing here is depends on what type of a strategy you're approaching here, right? I have options in the markets right now as I speak, but they have like a couple of years worth of expiration. Why? Because they're more long-term, like on the S&P 500. S&P 500 right now, I actually have options in the market right now. In fact, I have ever since, last year. And so the first thing is like, you must understand, buy lots of time. If you have if it's an investment trade, if it's a short-term trading opportunity, then I recommend having no less than 30 days to run, right? So if you can't do April 2022, you'll then go to May 2022, and this will give you about 60 days out, okay? That's the very first thing I do say, is have 30 to 60 days worth of time frame. If you're in and out within, say, a couple of days to maybe a week or two, then have 30 to 60 days. The reason why is this, is that in the last 3 weeks, there's a thing called, How do I put this in simple terms too? There's a thing called time value in the option, right? And then obviously the shorter the time frame gets, like, you know, I've got 2 weeks left of this option before it expires, 1 week left of the option. What happens is that this may be the time value here, and it doesn't really do much. But then coming to 3 weeks before expiration, and the time value is ticking, coming into 2 weeks, coming into 1 week, and it does that. So this point through here is roughly around the 3 week mark. So when I'm trading, if I'm going to be in a trade for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, then I want to make sure that I have 30. This is 3 weeks here, right? So I have 30. This may be 30 days here, and this over here to 60 days in this sweet spot. So if I'm here, I'm not letting the time value hit me too much. But if you're trading a very short-term option, like a weekly option, and you're holding for a week, guess what? You are fighting the ice curve. The ice cube is melting, and it's really melting a lot here. This is where you don't want to be getting involved. That's the first thing I do say. Buy lots of time. Yes, you've got to buy. You've got to pay a lot more because you're buying a bit more time, but that's going to protect you. The second thing I do say is that over here, what a lot of people tend to do is they look out of the money, right? So they look up, if they're looking to say trade call options. Oh, that's actually put options there. Let me actually go to the call options here for a minute. Right, call options here as an example. What they'll do is they will look where we are right now. Then they'll start to look. Oh man, I could buy the. Oh, you know what? If I go, man. If I buy at the money right now, it's going to cost me $15, you know, and 17 cents, 15 last 15. So call it $15, right? Call it $15 to be even, right? So $15, but that's obviously then times 100 because every contract is 100, is basically 100. So that's going to cost you, you know, that 15 times 100 there. So then, what a lot of people do is they're like, oh, but if I trade over here, look how cheap they are. I can buy them for $8 or $9. But then, and this is out of the money. But when you're buying out of the money, see this intrinsic value here, this intrinsic column here, that's 0. People look at that, and this is high risk, high reward, high risk, high reward. And so they look at that, the intrinsic value. But the best thing that I do when I'm trading options is that I always, firstly, I'll do that 30 to 60 days. So I'm not hitting that ice curve because then I'm going to be out within a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks max. But then the second thing I'm doing is I'm always looking at these options here. People don't like that because they think, oh, they're so much more expensive. But look at this here. This intrinsic value is also like a buffer. So if the market does start to go down through here, you could start to, depending on the volatility move, of course, but you can start to get out with maybe a 20 or 30% loss. And, you know, or even maybe a really big loss for me, like a really big loss is 40%. Right, that's a big loss, and I haven't had that in a long time. An average loss for me would be around about that 20% loss, right? But then when the market does move, I can start to see 50, 80%, 100% return. See what I'm saying there? So the best thing about doing what I did here, 30 to 60 days, is that you are firstly protecting yourself on the downside. But then the second thing is that when the market does move in your favor, it's actually quite good on the return as well too. So this is actually sort of small risk, but then really good return when the market does move in your favor. But a lot of people don't make this. A lot of people make the mistake of like, oh, they're much more expensive to buy. It's all about protecting yourself, right? And remember, this intrinsic value here is all about this. Think about the intrinsic value as a bit of a buffer in your account through there. So anyway, I just went on. That's obviously looking at the options there. So make sure you keep an eye. If you are looking at options or you're thinking about options in the markets right now, that's obviously a big thing for you. Now, let's actually get into the actual market itself. And so the first thing about when I'm looking at let's go to the S&P 500. And the big thing I'm seeing on the S&P 500 today is that we had a bit of a nothing day today. We actually ran down, and I was watching the market at the end of I was watching the market at the close there, and it was actually the last sort of 15 minutes. You can see here, even look at this last minute. This is the minute chart now, guys. So you can see this last minute, the market, the buyers came rushing right back out. So we actually had, for the start of, that was actually midday there. Wasn't it? That was actually midday right there. Let's actually go to the 5-minute chart here. Yeah, see, that was actually the 5-minute chart there. So you can see it actually went sideways for a bit, dropped down, and then it started to rally back up towards the end, as you can see there. So we had a nice rally towards the end. So you can see that's what actually happened on today. So bit of a nothing day today across the markets. You can see here that we are getting. Can I copy paste that? No, it's not allowing me to. Let me do this here. You can see that on a short term, absolute short term on the S&P 500, we are getting this level of support. So that's obviously a key level of support. We have broken out once again, and we're getting a key level of support through here. So that's going to be really interesting to see what actually happens around these key areas in the markets to see what actually goes on in the markets itself, right? So that's obviously a big thing there. We're looking at there. Let's look at the Nasdaq as well. The Nasdaq is actually it's broken out of this pattern through here, but it's actually having a lot of problems at this whole area through here is indeed that level of resistance, and that's where it's actually pausing a little bit right now in the market. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what actually happens. Do we continue up from here, or do we have like a bit of a pullback and then continue up? Overall, my overall pattern is a lot more upside. Looking at the Dow Jones as well too. The Dow Jones, you can see how it actually closed below, right? We closed there. You can see what actually happened today. We came down towards that trend line, and then we actually bounced back up as well. So we are indeed getting a very sort of strong bounce today through there. But this whole area through here is now a very strong support in the markets. So there's 34,000 even to this level through here. You can see how that we have, all this level. So this whole level through there, whole level through there, whole level through there. So that means that whole 34,000 will be a support level there. And now we're getting this level here, which was resistance, and now it's actually finding a little bit of support where it is right now. If we did start to see something like this, right? If we did get something like that on the downside, then guess what? You know what, guys? The upside's probably not going to happen, and we're probably going to see something like that and a bit more flow to the downside. So that's and this has always been open-minded to, anything can happen in the market, but right now, I am very bullish in the markets. My view of these markets is that even if we did get a bit of a pullback, it's going to be short-lived before we start to see something like that. So many people. I actually got someone on my YouTube channel. It was actually on the same video there, and someone on my YouTube channel says bull trap, because I did in my video that I did yesterday about how I see this market making a run to new highs. And this guy said, bull trap, in denial, the epic crash is imminent, so sorry. And so I actually said to him, let the market tell you that. And he said, wake up, the market has been telling us that for the last 2 months. Oh, really? Okay. And then I said, so then my reply to him was, I said, so I guess that means you're short right now. So we're getting a lot of people who are just like so imminent that the market is going to crash, right? So, and so that's actually really, really, really interesting to see what's happening through there. Again, but for me personally, I am very bullish in the markets there. Let's go look at the good old gold market. Oh, John, finally you get to gold, man. Geez, you take a long time to get. So that's what a lot of people say. It's like, John, you just get to the point. So the whole thing through here, guys, is look what's happening here with gold. So I said yesterday, right? I said yesterday with gold that I do believe we're getting ready for a bit of a turning point soon. So and I said to him that we actually had a very big pullback toward these levels through here. We actually come back down to these sort of support and resistance lines. That was actually the support level through there. So that last significant resistance through there. Woo! What did I just press? I'm trying to do some shortcut keys to bring up my trend lines, but I was like, you just deleted your file. I'm like, crap, I've got to start all over again. Support level there. It's a support level there. All right. So this is what's going on right now. Okay. This is what's going on right now. We're at this level of support. So we're at that level there, but then we've had this very big, sharp pullback in gold right now. And so I did a video yesterday talking about that, but I still do believe it. We're actually in a very nice short-term oversold level through here. So there's a good possibility we're going to start to see possibly a nice rise out of this level here. We may get one last little push down like this, something like that. But if we do, we're probably going to see something like that. But right now we're getting to a very nice oversold level in the markets. So there's a real good probability of this actually starting to make a rise in the markets through there. Silver today, just a bit of a nothing burger right now. We're holding between this level of support and this level of resistance. We are actually, let's actually do this here, right? So there is actually a bit of a trend line going on through there somewhere, I would say. Let me just take that off the screen there, so it's actually very much more easier, right? So we did pull back, and now we're actually getting back down through to here. So it's going to be really interesting to see do we actually get the pop out of this level through here on that. Let's have a look at the GDXJ today. GDX actually had a bit of a nice rise, because actually the energy sector actually had a significant rise. The energy stock took off like a rocket, because oil took off again as well too. And there's actually a big thing about the oil thing there that I want to talk to you about as well too. Now it comes to my mind. So we see this thing through here, right? We had a bit of a pullback, and now we're going sideways. So we're actually building a basing pattern, and this is what I talked about in yesterday's video as well too. We're building this sideways range, so that's actually very bullish, and we should start to see something like that. Oh geez, coming out of the GDXJ, same situation through here. This is the one that I'm actually personally long in. I have done now for a while, so I'm actually personally long the GDXJ myself. We are getting this sideways range right now after breaking out of this level through here. We're in a very nice upward trend as well too. Very nice, strong upward trend. So as you can see, we had support, and then support. And then we had a sideways range. So then we should start to see a continuation of that, especially breaking out of that level through there on the GDXJ. But on the short term, guys, absolute short term, we are developing a bit of a time phase now, or a bit of a sideways range. So once again, we should start to see this thing start to pop and start to go for another move on the upside as well. SILJ, same sort of thing as well too. Again, we're developing this sort of squeezing up pattern, bit of a sideways range. So we should start to see this thing start to pop again soon, because we are getting a very strong leg there. And the SIL, this is the one that I'm watching very carefully, because it could give me a good short-term trading opportunity. We are in a very nice upward trend. So we have this low, higher low, and a nice strong high low. So in an upward trend, and the trend is your friend. Don't ever trade against the trend, guys. Okay. So then we're getting it. See, as you can see, we got a pullback, and then we rip up, pull back. We're getting a sideways range. So it's going to be really interesting. Do we get something like this coming out of the SIL? If we can get something like that, maybe even tomorrow, and we get a good increase in volume, that's going to give me a massive probability that now we're likely to start to see a rise, and we're probably going to start to see a very nice rise back up towards that 42 level in the SIL market itself. So that's what I'm looking through there. And the thing that I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to the oil market, the USO through here. Let me bring up my trend line that I had before, which is that through there. The big thing that I always say with trading is that always trade after a pullback, never chase the markets. And in the videos, you can see here that if you wanted to jump in on oil, and I talked about this as well too, how oil looks like it's getting to some short-term oversold territory. But as you can see, when the market does make a big move up, wait for it to pull back. Okay, wait for it to pull back, then try to enter on a pullback. Okay, never if the market's taking off like a rocket, like it is through here, don't try to enter the market through there, right? Because you're chasing the market. They're very, 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 very low probability. What you want to do is what, as you probably heard me say before, right? Market goes up, wait for the pullback, then jump in here somewhere. Market runs up, wait for the pullback, then jump in here somewhere. Wait for the pullback, then try to jump in here somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you try to get in on the market. You always want to wait for the pullback first. So we're trading with the trend and waiting for, and always trading after a pullback. You never want to jump in. And this is a big mistake that a lot of amateurs make, is that they get through here, right? They start to trade these levels through here because they think, oh, the market's taken off, I'm going to miss out, the FOMO, right? And then suddenly you jump in. Probably what that guy did, who, man, from $1 million to losing it all. You know, I thought I was doing bad when I went from 750 down to 300 or 400. You know, I feel very grateful for what I still had money, still had a nice profit there left at the end of the year. But you can see here, guys, that again, we had a very nice move to the upside. And so therefore, once again, just wait for a pullback, then jump in on the markets there. So there's a bit of an update for you today, guys. Once again, traders, if you are struggling in the markets right now, I know that I can help you. Come aboard. Let me coach you. Let me help you. If you are interested in that, then go to johnsfreetraining.com. On there, the very first 60 minutes of the webinar, you're going to learn exactly how I trade the markets, exactly how I approach the markets, in my system, my strategies, and my processes, and my scanning processes, and all that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to I'm going to open up a few spots to my actual coaching program. That, as you can see, Nixon's in already. Nixon, that's the one that Nixon's in. And even just the last few weeks, he's saying it's worth every penny as well too. So I know I can help you guys. So go to Johns, JOHNS, freetraining.com. Go to there right now. Watch the webinar. And if you are interested, get in my coaching program so I can start to help you now. And the coaching program starts right now and finishes at the end of the year. So get in there right now, guys, and let me coach you. And I'll see you in the next video.